Let's begin with the panel. I'd like to invite to the stage our moderator for this panel, Mr. Nishant Shekhar, Managing Director and Partner, BCG. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mr. Nishant Shekhar. Welcome, sir. And now the panelists. Let's put our hands together and welcome to the stage Mr. Ashim Ashok Patil, MD and CEO, iTech RFID. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the stage Mr. Ashim Patil. Welcome, sir. Mr. Kiran Shinde, CEO, PMJ Jewels. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together. We can bring more energy into the room. We've only just started this day. Let's start with a bang. Welcome, sir. Let's put our hands together and welcome to the stage Mr. Sameer Srivastav, CEO, Look Salon Private Limited. Welcome, sir. Join me in welcoming to the stage Mr. Sanjay Vakharia, CEO, Spiker Lifestyles Private Limited. Mr. Shambhav Jitendra, Executive Director, Jade Blue Lifestyle India Limited. Mr. Suhail Sattar, Director and CEO, Hasbro Clothing Basics. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the stage Mr. Suhail Sattar. Mr. Ravi Ramachandran, Founder and CEO, NUA. And Mr. Tarak Bhattacharya, ED and CEO, Mad Over Donuts. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and welcome these gentlemen. Our very first panel for the day. The topic is From Stores to Screen, the Changing Times of Retail. Over to you, gentlemen.
Hello. Use this. Okay. Anyway, let us get started. Hi, everyone. Very welcome to all. We have a very interesting panel here, and I was wondering last night how to cover the topic in the context of such a diverse set of businesses. We have online fashion we have fashion retailing, we have food retailing, we have D2C brands, we have jewellery, and then we have also the technology partners for some of these players. Just to set the context, if you see, and that was also the theme of the report that we published this year, right, which is to that the retail landscape in India has been changing over the last few years, and it is more and more omni-channel. The digital has started to play a more important role, driven by a combination of factors. I think pandemic helped it, consumer behavior, internet penetration, digital payment penetration. I think all of them is helping the online, both from the influencer perspective as well as the commerce perspective, and therefore there is an increased role of digital and online in the retail landscape per se. But having said that, what we have covered as part of the report also was there are almost like two different business model which are existing in parallel, right? There is one which is omni-channel, D2C led, and where there are brands who are making big strides forward. But there's also the more traditional offline-led or offline-focused retailers who have continue to make a niche about it, right? And therefore, it brings down to what consumer segments you are targeting, what choices you are making, and therefore building your own operating model to suit that. I think that's the balance that we will be trying to cover in today's discussion. Let me start with the extreme, which is the the D2C side of the business, right? And then I think you guys are started D2C, already huge, big, and now you are starting to make foray in offline. Uh, uh, just take us through the journey in terms of how has been the experience, why did you do it, how is it helping the online world, given that you started from the online channel side.
Yeah, no thanks. So just for introduction, we are a women's wellness brand. We sell core products are in the menstrual wellness space, sanitary pads, tampons, etc. So our journey started off as a completely online subscription business. For the initial phase, we were that. For an FMCG company, we had actually more tech engineers and product managers in the company than brand managers. So I think our initial phase was that we achieved traction. But as we built FMCG business or a consumer brand business for India, we have to look at all channels equally importantly. So the next phase for us was to go from pure play DTC subscription to online marketplaces like the Amazons of the world or Zeptos of the world. And now more recently, we are exploring offline retail with modern trade. And I think the underlying thought process is, you have to be where the consumers are. And what we have seen is while there are some fundamental shifts in consumer behavior. You would see some folks migrating to online, but there is still a large number of people who prefer to shop in the retail space. There are experiences that you can't really replicate in the online world that you receive in the offline world. So as a brand, what we try to do is, be present wherever it's possible. Two is, whatever our insights from the digital world, which we are presumably good at, we take that forward onto the physical world. So just a simple example is, in our space, what we have seen is young women, young girls, they sometimes do not know many things, right? And this is in India, it's a taboo space. So if they want to know more about their periods, more about what's going on, they don't have many people to reach out to. So what we built is, so we have a very strong online content and community presence, but as an add-on, we built I couldn't say AI-driven, but similar, but an interactive platform called a secret chat. So any girl could come in onto our website and in complete anonymity could ask questions about periods, and either a set of experts or the AI tool will help you get those answers. Now, so from our perspective, it doesn't matter where you really shop, right? But can we provide a holistic experience to the woman? And I think I do see that as a way forward, a kind of a bridging of the online and offline world through experiences.
Got it. That's very helpful, Ravi. Just moving on to Suhail. Suhail, I think my question is now, let's say, on the other side, where you guys are in fashion retail, large store network in India. There is a store experience is an important part in apparel. What you think is the role of online, whether it is marketing, influencer, whether it is actually doing sales, what you think is, in your context, the role of the online today is, or you look forward in the future?
Hi, thank you. Online, I think, is reach, primarily, right? And I think retail is romance, right? So I think anything that leads up to that romance, to the relationship that we have with the product, when the product connects to the consumer, we use. And today online, considering the fact that digital advertising, digital media, digital consumption has gone up, we use it as reach. But I think primarily online is reach, knowledge distribution, right? It's great for all of that. The business that we are in, a touch and feel business, and you don't want to commoditize your business, right? You want to make it special. You want to make it beautiful. You want your customer to enjoy what he's wearing. You want your customer to have pride of wearing, right? A lot of that happens at the moment of truth. That moment of truth is offline, right? Mostly. It's mostly offline. So I think online largely is great as a medium of reach and knowledge sharing, but I think transaction is offline primarily.
That's the interesting, I will say, 180-degree diametric opposite perspective. But Sanjay, I just want to pull you in here on the same topic to say, where do you see your company or I mean, you are also in the apparel business, right? But you have your own brand and big brand, and you also use the Amazons and the Flipkarts of the world to do selling. But where do you see the both the sales and the marketing involving in the online world?
Hello. So this question probably can be answered in two parts. One is from the marketing side of it, and the other is the actual fulfillment. So I feel that what's happened in the last 10 years with the whole onslaught of digital is that the market has got further fragmented. You know, it's very difficult now to catch hold of your consumers in a particular place for sure. And so they're actually all over the place, and hence it becomes a lot more difficult to really figure out where do you talk to that customer and how do you talk to that customer. Now, out of all these fragmented areas that he is or she is, online is one of those areas where we are fairly certain that they will all be. You know, and whether we are talking about social media or we talk about Google, YouTube's, or various other things which are happening on the digital ecosystem. So from my perspective, at Spiker, we're actually looking at it from marketing to our customers, mainly and largely from a digital perspective. So you actually speak to them in an environment that they're very happy and comfortable. And the other piece where I feel that you can still catch hold of our customers is finally at a store. So if I have to look at talking to my customers offline, then I would rather have it through my retail stores, a communication with our customers, because they are much more directed, very less spillover. It's a little more contextual conversation that we can have with our customers if they are into my stores. And as Sohail said, you know, discovery, you know, getting to know the customer, getting a feel of what the brand is, happens to the digital space. So this is as far as marketing is concerned. On the fulfillment side, I think the way e-commerce has moved in India, primarily it's been served on the plank of great value, super discounts. And so a lot of people are used to seeing very aggressive discounts online. And they are very reluctant and reticent to look at products which are not having discounts or which are more, and hence more fresher, right? So a lot of us actually use online mainly to liquidate our merchandise. But I feel there is a change of habit happening. There is a behavioral shift which is happening. And for every shift to happen, there needs to be some catalyst. And I think in our case, while we don't see it as a catalyst, I feel the catalyst could be the quick commerce. So for probably, if I'm playing say a game of cards with my friends and I need some chips, and if those guys can deliver it to me even at 50 rupees more than what the market price is, I'm buying it on quick com, right? It's actually getting me used to the whole idea of convenience seeking on the online space. And as in where we move more towards online for convenience, that's when the actual migration from offline to online for brands like us will happen, where we'll also have margins, where we'll make money out of online. Today, to make money out of online is more of a fallacy. It's like daydreaming. And so I feel, but the journey has started, and I'm very, very sure the journey has started, that the behavioral shift of consumers is little by little a very small segment, but for sure a segment out there who is moving towards online. And where I differ with Sohail over here is that 15 years back probably, I was one of the guys who said that online में कैसे बिकेगा कपड़ा, touch and feel चाहिए. लेकिन वर्ल्ड ओवर ऑनलाइन पे ही बिक रहा है. सो आई डोंट थिंक वी कैन इग्नोर the power of online, the power of convenience over there. It's a matter of time. Maybe it took 10 years for us to be where we are today. It might take another 10 years to be there. But you really have to prepare for it. You have to have online as a part of your plans. You cannot move without it.
Interesting. That's very interesting to say. While the current online is more discounting, pricing led, and may not be the most best option for the alternative for the offline, but quick commerce may start to change it to convenience and premium. Then maybe there is a bigger opportunity that as a fashion player, you guys would be interested in it. Let me just change to a very different industry, and Tarak, I will come to you, right? I know now food retailing, I mean, you can't get more offline than that when it's, right? But I have a different, it's a related question, but a different perspective to say online food delivery in India has become big. It's huge. The Swiggies and the Zomatos of the world, and now we have even with the ONDC coming in, the new players are coming, right? And it's a big food at home instead of people going out. Now those guys have built a big business, have become have a huge buying power. How do you see the brands, the food service retail brands trying to build their own D2C in this space to be able to counter them? Domino's has done it, and actually Domino's did it much before the Swiggies and Zomato came into this world. But the new age brands, where do you find this opportunity going forward?
Good morning, everybody. I represent a band, as I said, called Mad Over Donuts. And as we say, the digital landlords has taken it all, the Swiggies and Zomatos from all of us. The margins have reduced, you're right. But I think there's a huge scope in the whole thing, because today also I think the store, or as I say, the live performance, or you say the offline stores, are still getting us the money. If you say they are still are the face of the brand, and it is for everybody. It's not only for us as a QSR, but for, I think we still do a 60% of our business from the stores, and our online business is still around a 40%, which comprises of Swiggy and Zomato the maximum. But however, going ahead, I think they spend top dollar, to get this business out from a D2C business. But for any specific brand like us, I think we'll always be dependent on them. And margin will be thin, but I think they can get us more convenience, they can get us more reach. I think it's here to stay, if you genuinely ask me, and we are with them. ONDC is one factor which is coming, it is taking a little bit time. I am part of the ONDC in the government of India also. But it is taking a little bit time because ONDC is not spending a lot of money, and it is by the government. And for the people, they say, but it is taking a little time. But the QSR business will always be dependent on these aggregators for sure. And as I say, they are digital landlords for us. But ONDC coming will only help us, to ease our pain. But they are here to stay, and we'll be with them for sure.
And any thoughts on building your own delivery model?
No. As I said, they spend top dollar, and they spend a lot of money, and they lose a lot of money. We are not here to lose money. We are here to sustain ourselves.
Interesting. Now let's switch gear to very Sami, to you, right? And I think maybe you are the most diverse running business person sitting in this group. And that's what I think my question will be more open-ended to you. Say, from the digital perspective, the online perspective, in a salon business, where do you see digital playing a role in a setup like you? Because it's a service business, it's a people service business. So it's more open-ended. Do you see there is a role to play?
So my name is Samir. I am the CEO for a company called Lux. Lux is a 36-year-old brand in the salon industry. This year we should close at about 250 salons in about 53 cities. The last 2 years that I've come on board, so we are building newer markets like West and East, primarily a North India brand. So thankfully I'm not impacted by any of the, I still have all of you who will come to the salon to get a haircut. The lady here, or the gentleman here, or your children. So Q-commerce, e-commerce, Flipkart, Zepto, no worries. You still need to come. In fact, वो Zepto वाला लड़का भी आकर के हमारे ही बाल कटाता है. But what is happening is that because it is it's a highly unorganized industry. So we see, like all the industries, a lot of mushrooming of salons, which is good for the consumer because consumer के लिए बहुत variety मिल रही है. But also because it is highly unregulated and highly unorganized. So, like I was telling Ravi here that there's a salon you can make in 25 lakhs and versus us people, we try and say कि हमारा 1.5 crore में salon बनता है. So the cost of business is rapidly increasing versus the consumption. And because it is unregulated and definitely no government is going to come and play a part in this thing, we are kind of challenged in that aspect. Technology is very important now. So in the last 2-3 years, technology has begun to enter our sector. So we are dependent on big companies like L'Oreal and Unilever's professional division. So these companies are bringing in technologies from Europe and from the US. So a very basic thing, in fact, what we are trying to do is कि next time आप एक pilot चल रहा है दिल्ली के salon में हमारे कि if you were to come, अभी तक आप जब haircut के लिए आते तो you would ask your hairdresser कि यार इस बार कुछ अच्छा सा haircut करके देना. So you would leave it to him, you know, the human interface, or you would show an old book in which you would see hairstyles and say कि यार इस तरीके का haircut करना. Now we are transferring that to smart mirrors. We've tied up with a young startup from Bits Pilani, 3 young, very smart engineers, and they have installed 2 smart mirrors for, it's called Try My Style. So next time you go to a salon, you can actually see ki yaar, should I go in for a fade, will a small haircut, shorter haircut suit me? But more so for the women because a lot of color habits and all are coming into India now. India, the color business is rapidly growing. It's become, India is the 4th largest market globally for L'Oreal. And that's a great achievement. Yet, color penetration, hair color penetration is very low. So I'm saying next time in a metro, a lady goes to the salon, she says, I want to try burgundy, or I want to try a bit of reds, or I want to try some highlights. There is an interplay of technology which we are bringing in. More for men, especially a lot of men are keeping beards. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are here. So, you know, so whether a beard really suits you, don't get me wrong, please, gentlemen, or not, let the technology and the barber advise you whether it suits your haircut or not, your face cut. So that's a bit of technology which is coming in. There's also there's also, I think, a bit of disruption, just like Zomatos and Swiggies of the world have done. Again, a young startup which is trying to become a Zomato of the salon industry by looking at aggregation and giving end customers great discounts and great deals. So a Groupon ke ek tarike se modern avatar, but a young format which is again being accepted widely by salons. I think these 2-3 changes are what we are looking at, but we are safe.
Got it.
No discounting on.
Okay, let me just try to play a devil's advocate there. I know, of the Zomatos and the Flipkarts of the world is not going to here, but let's say urban company, right? An urban company is trying to democratize, hair cutting, bringing in home at convenience, and they are also trying to make it organized by, recruiting the barbers, etc. And how do you see that, or maybe hitting you, or are you becoming a part of that model to expand the business?
I think I have great respect for the company and hats off to the young promoters. They came and disrupted our industry for sure, especially after the COVID times. But I think we have to coexist. That consumer, that city consumer, that modern consumer who wants to go, there are only certain basic services which you can do at home. If you really want technical services, if you want really deep, relaxing services, you need to come to a salon. And I am not saying that urban company mein wo nahi ho sakta, but professionally they cannot do. So they are restricting their menu to basic service, like a haircut or a kid's haircut, or at the most a massage and stuff like this. So I think they are playing their bit. We are the physical guys. Together the consumer is benefiting. So it is definitely something that we have embraced. We have also tried to introduce home services, but then I've realized that it's better to play in the fixed business rather than get into somebody else's stuff. So that's where, so they are happy, we're happy at the moment.
And the market is, no one complains about the TAM in India any which ways. Right? Now again, a very, very different industry. Kiran just wanted to touch upon on jewelry, right? Now jewelry is maybe the most highest value items among all the people, right? sitting over here from the customer point of view. Not easy to do anything online there. It's very, very difficult, right? To make people buy gold or diamond or whatever, right, on online. But I think you guys have been innovative to try something on virtual selling, etc. Do you want to just talk about what made it do and is it helping? How is it helping? How do you see the future evolving?
Hi. Yeah, so like you rightly pointed out, the ticket size or the average transaction value is slightly bigger, and when we were thinking of doing something digitally or something wanting to try, so these were the constraints that were coming across. So 2-3 things that we're trying to address, we wanted to try to address. So one point was how to access the consumer. The second is how do we give them the experience. The experience of touch and feel is extremely necessary in our category especially. Otherwise, it's extremely difficult. And third is how do we conclude the transaction? Because the smaller value transactions concluding is so much more easier than slightly a larger transactions. So with all of these things, we thought taking a conventional route of doing an e-commerce or a digital play would be slightly challenging. So we thought to get into something on the virtual selling platform or a video assisted selling platform, where we have 2-3 types of inventories put into place, like pre-recorded videos of inventory, a very high precision inventories. The second is the images of the jewelry, and third is the real jewelry, which will be showcased to the consumer over a video, and they have a very near to reality experience of that one with very high resolution cameras and a very detailed conversation by the representative on the call, and that actually worked well, especially post-COVID. And when the consumer is so much fragmented, and in our case, our TG even extends up to say US. So we operate out of South India, and then US is a natural market for us. And then to tap into the market of US, it was very difficult for us to go out there, open store and all of those things. But this really worked for us. And this is contributing significant good amount of sales for our business.
And is the target customer more international, or are the domestic customers where the customer is not in the city where you have the store, those are also the target customers for this kind of it's very interesting. Virtual selling such a high big item is not easy.
Yeah, so it's a combination of both. One is the international customers that are there who want to experience Indian bridal or celebration wear or ethnic wear in this market, which is not accessible for them in those markets. That is one. And second, here tier 2, tier 3 cities are also becoming very tech savvy. They also want to have access to this one. So all our smaller cities, tier 2, tier 3 cities, which do not have access to the kind of jewelry. So the first interaction starts from there. And then the transaction concludes, of course, at the store. That happens. But the access to that consumer, for us also it is good, and the consumer gets access to a much more variety, much more better jewelry for the experience, and that helps.
It's quite interesting. I think it's a very unique operating model for a traditional industry. Good to hear some.
And even the stream commerce is helping us.
Got it. Cool. Now let's change gear. I think we talked about the different models, online, offline. I think the next thing I just wanted to cover is the use of technology in the entire value chain, and whether is it inside the store, outside the store, in the entire value chain. Both either technology or data analytics, digital, how we are trying to drive. And let me start, gentlemen here. I think on the RFID, I think is one thing which I think has been. I think it has been there for some time. I think the cost of RFID, etc., has been also, I think, kind of stagnant. How do you see the unique use cases where it is getting deployed, and how do you see the future playing out here?
Yeah, thank you. So, I represent iTech RFID. We are in RFID solutions for 25 years. So 2025 is our 25th year anniversary in July. And I started this company right after college in RFID, when UHF RFID didn't even exist. So we have been talking about the adoption of RFID at object level, or for object identification. And these objects have been various types of objects. So we already using people identification for payments. You are tapping and paying. What happens is RFID. You are already using RFID for your access control and stuff in your offices and in your houses and all. So on the people identification, on the animal identification also globally, it is one of the biggest use cases. Now when it came to object identification, what was required for the adoption of RFID was the IT infrastructure and the digital infrastructure, because to handle so much of data, what we are basically, we are an IoT technology, So for a physical object to interact digitally, this infrastructure was required. So we were way ahead of time when we were doing these solutions, but we had to be there to be the market leaders. We had to be present much ahead of the curve, to propose these solutions. The cost thing, if you have to compare RFID, what we are is, we are basically the blockchain of the physical world. What blockchain is doing with the digital data today, we are doing with the physical products, so the entire traceability, right from the manufacturer to the point of sale, we are giving an entire pug marking, so if one white shirt is being sold at a point of sale, and there are thousands of such white shirts, large white shirts in different hundreds of stores, where's the traceability? Because every white shirt has got the same barcode. But with RFID, we are getting in the uniqueness, so much to do to monetize this data, today we are talking of AI and data analytics and everything, but where is the data, and what is the freshness of this data? Even if we look at the physical inventory, it used to be done once in 6 months, a physical stock. Now today our customers are doing it every morning. So customers like Reliance and Tata, they are thousands of stores. They used to do physical stock take once in 3 months. Today the store doesn't open without a physical stock take. Talk about the cycle count at the DC. So one of our customers with a 6 million square feet DC, they used to take 200 days to do the cycle count. With RFID, we brought it down from 200 days to 8 days with a bin level accuracy. Now the urge for data is so large that this customer of ours now wants it every day. So they have been using 200 days for 10 years. Now 8 days they are getting for last 6 months. They want it daily. They want inventory on demand. So this is what we have been doing, and when it comes to the cost, it is about able to build use cases and squeeze the juice out of RFID. हम वो solution provider है Indian जो गन्ने को एक बार डालते हैं, फेंक नहीं देते, वापस डालते, fold करके, वापस डालते, squeeze करते. So that is how our customers. You take the example of Zudio, average selling price of less than $4 or $5, but the biggest spend on RFID today. And they are just not so. Life at Tata Trent or Reliance without RFID is almost, they are not anymore reliable on barcode and such technology. So it's just not the use cases on the storefront, like everybody's talking about customer experiences and everything, but I feel it all starts with employee experience, If you have to, in a brick and mortar store, whether it's online or offline, for RFID it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we are fulfilling a physical product, and it is a person who has to look up for that physical product, or a robot who has to be given a command to look up for the physical product, and we are giving the traceability. What we are doing at the storefront is we are freeing up the store associate with the mundane tasks of doing inwards, doing GRNs, moving the stuff, from the fitting room to here, and giving the whole traceability thing. So he is available as a fashion specialist to give that experience to the customer who is inside the store. And it's just by putting digital screens or monitors and a lot of content, the experience cannot be enriched, is what I feel. When you are peeping out of a fitting room, if you see a fashion specialist, a store associate standing there and he doing a thumbs up, you buy that stuff. And that is how the things are. Online it's a completely different, but whether it is donuts or whether it is jewelry or whether it is denims, you know, the experience, if somebody wants the touch and feel, they will go here. If somebody wants to gift, they will go online. But at the end of the day, from the RFID perspective, you know, where we are, online, offline, the traceability is a must, and we are the undercurrent in the fulfillment.
Thank you. No, that's interesting, and maybe I think RFID is one of the use cases of technology. Sambhav, I will come to you to say, in apparel, right? I think while we spoke about the use of the RFID in apparel, but if I go more broader, and if I think whether is it inside the store or whether it is in my back-end value chain, where you think either technology or digital innovations are going to play a role in both, either in experience or selling, or you feel that in apparel it's more about the traditional way, which is still more appealing, and there is less applications of digital and technology in the business that you are in.
I believe technology is must in today's era. But how do you use technology? Because I always believe that every company or every product has a set of customer. So for us, probably what is working may not work for the other companies. Okay, this is a very simple rule of retail, I believe. So technology is really good for us. It is helping us to, nurturing our customers, bringing back to our stores, and finding a new footfalls. So I would say in terms of branding or advertising or showcasing our product online, that is how we are using the technology. We are using best technology possible at our back-end warehouses and everywhere. But I guess it is like, what is the difference between a robot and a human? The main difference is emotion. आप रोबोट में इमोशन डाल सकते हो, पैदा नहीं कर सकते. इंसान इमोशंस के साथ पैदा ही होता है. So just like that, to unless and until you feel the cloth or you feel the product when it comes to clothing, this is what my experience is all about. I'm sure online is doing fantastic. There are set of buyers. There are people who prefer buying online only, and they don't come to stores. So okay, but for us, that what we believe that human touch, human intervention, human suggestions is very important. So yes, technology is definitely there in our business, but when it comes to finalizing everything, and as an end user, they drop into our stores, they feel the product, they get the experience of unparalleled services, and they get their satisfaction.
We have both sides of the world sitting in the room, and therefore I will bring Sanjay in this discussion to say, and I'm not talking about the online world, I'm still talking about the offline world. And if I just take stores or the back end for the store experience, where do you say already in play, or maybe in the future, where are the things where you feel technology can help improve the experience?
So Nishant, if you actually move out and look at the participants and the exhibitors over here, and this is the case with all the trade shows today, there are only two sets of people who are exhibiting. One is the tech people, and the other is the property. Okay. So I feel that we are the suckers for everybody out here. Property guys. So malls or whoever, right? And we become consumers or customers to all of these people. But so this actually shows where we are in the evolution of retail in a lot of ways. I think to look at a life in retail without tech intervention is kind of a bygone situation. And right from RFID to every sphere of our process, tech has pervaded, and it's very, very integral part of it. Now, tech again is a double-edged sword, I feel. A lot of tech is good to have. Very few is must to have. To sift through the entire bouquet and figure out what is really necessary for your business, and at the point of time that you are in your business, which is more important, is to be determined and judged by all organizations. And everybody is in a very different space and place in the evolution. And so maybe what's good for him may not be relevant or timely enough for me. Or maybe size also matters. The maturity of people also matters. So I think, long story short, I don't see a life without tech as far as retail is concerned. I mean, just from a perspective of planning your collection, moving up to production, your allocation, I mean, every area, merchandising. So there is nothing yet which has not been touched well by the tech space, And it's very, it'll be a long list of things which we have to recount over here to say where all it can come into play. But I think there's not a single place, right from the time you actually visualize a product. In fact, on visualization also, tech plays a big role now. So right from there till the customer has got it, and then also managing his journey to come back, to make him come back to the store. So from a CRM perspective and a lot more beyond that, I think tech has become so critical. But again, a rider over here is that you need to figure out what's really important for you, because for a lot of people, a lot of professionals, tech has become a tick box as well, to show to their superiors that they are kind of, out there. So it's a huge FOMO also for a lot of professionals कि मैंने ये नहीं किया उसने ये कर लिया. But ठीक है भाई, ये रेस में हर आदमी अपने अपने खुद के साथ ही दौड़ रहा है, कोई किसी के साथ नहीं दौड़ रहा है. That's how I say.
I really, yeah, that I think is also fair to say. One is what is the tech being used for? Is it giving advantage either to consumer or to the business, or is it more to catch up with someone else is doing than I need to do? I think that's very very. I think while Samir already covered in his industry how the tech is, and he's trying some of the tech. Also wanted to hear on the food side, food service side, how, and maybe more inside the store, how you guys are using tech and what benefit that you are deriving out of it.
So to start with, as I was saying that 60% of our business is actually at the store. So, and we sell one product, which is a donut, obviously different flavors, etc. So if you have flavor festival between a Christmas donut to a Diwali donut to etc. But we also have a tech where you actually get engaged to the consumer in terms of AR, for example. You can also experience the AR just outside our store where you have a booth of ours. Also, you can get some amazing donuts also, where actually you can make your own donut, So that is one thing what we have done. So engagement is key for us for any other category. There is centrally controlled menu options, what we do for all the stores across the country. We are also tying up with something so that each part of the day gets separated out for menu. For example, a Chennai may have a different menu at different times of the day, or a Bombay may have, depending on the circle. For example, a Powai may have a lot of things talking about gifting because it's a office area, etc. So we are doing all those things. Apart from that, there is also the inventory model which is there, which is helping us big time because we are an everyday model. Twice in a day, we do deliveries in the stores from the mother kitchen. So all these things are helping us big time. But I think more than anything else, I think for us, tech is more like a consumer engagement apart from serving donuts. And that is what we are taking it ahead accordingly.
Just one other aspect that I just wanted to touch upon before we goes, and I think Ravi, I will come to you for that. Is there's always in business which is the profitability aspect of the business, right? And now that you guys are going from online to offline, and whatever 100% to 90% that you guys are at, right? How do you see the profitability of the two channels, and where you see going forward? Is it the customer acquisition on the cost on online which is hitting you, or is it the offline world which is becoming more profitable? How do you see the profitability playing out between the two channels?
Tough question, but look, I just feel that different businesses have different underlying economics in offline versus online. Ours is a category where the cost of acquisition is inherently high. Because it's a long-term decision by the consumer. But it's also a business where you can have 30-year lifetime value. People, once they like what they use, they stick around for a long time. So for us, an online model can also be very profitable, right? Now, I break it into two parts, right? So there is actually three parts. So there is the own business of ours, which is our own DTC business, which is obviously the highest gross margins for us. But of cost to serve could be higher today, or cost of acquisition could be higher. On the other extreme, there is the general trade market, which we are not present today, which also has good enough economics, right? but you need to create demand. So there's some other spends you need to do to get that pull going on. In between is this place where all of us currently are focused on is the marketplaces online. Whether it's the Mintras for the apparel or it's Swiggy for these guys or Zepto for all of us. I think there is this space. Here this is tricky because these guys are really growing fast, right? And you can't. I mean, it's great for everyone because they're essentially solving for the consumer. It's somewhere, I think, there is a trade-off on margins that you have to offer. But the trick is, in a business like ours, if you can get that customer sooner through that platform, then there's no further marketing cost per se, right? They'll stick around. So that's what I said. I think it depends from category to category. And each has its own set of underlying economics that you have to work and solve for. But to kind of add to all of what has been said, right? I actually feel that there's two things. Where is this online store versus offline store or technology in retail per se? I think it all comes from. Let me paraphrase. When there is a space that is intense competition, and if you want to survive and grow, you have to innovate. There is no option. And that innovation, and I think we play in a space which is incredibly competitive. We have some of the largest brands playing in this space, and we are this new age brand trying to challenge. It's a no-brainer. We have to use technology as a driver to make that differentiation. Otherwise, you can't compete. So I think when you're in an environment where the competition is really intense, or there are significant pressures on, say, margins or profitability or something, innovation is the only answer, and technology is one of those solutions to provide that answer, whether it's customer experience or engagement or purchase experience or product innovation. I think that's what it is. So I think as industries evolve, there'll be competition. Sameer's example is brilliant. I mean, who would have thought? I mean, he has a competitive industry too, but essentially you can provide a differentiated experience through that mirror, right? And that, the assumption is that adds a layer of an additional experience to the consumer, and they stick around, right? So that's in my head, all of it.
The underlying assumption being that experience is differentiated and also valuable to the consumer to bring it. And I like the point to say that just going back to the question that I asked on profitability, I think there is a role both channels are playing, and in the role that they are playing, in that context, we need to look at the profitability. There could be absolute one better over the other, but...
Yeah, I just want to add, like, at least in my space or even in food space, whatever the economics of Swiggy is, it's not that you'll say, I'm not going to play there. You have to play.
Got it. Just the profitability, just extending that to Kiran as well, right? Now that you guys have two channels of one the retail and one is the virtual selling, how is the profitability playing out for the two channels for you guys?
Yeah. So, given the asset class that comes in as an inventory to us, it's very difficult to fail in our business. It takes good effort to fail. But it is equally difficult to make good margins, healthy profitability for the business, given the amount of inventory that we hold, the cost of holding that inventory and all of those things. And that is where things like the digital business or inventory light model of the business, the more proportion of inventory light business that we bring in, the more profitable the business is going to be. And that is where our endeavor is always to bring in technology to use to identify the trends faster, to identify the designs faster, get our fast movers identified in the right time so that the inventories are in control, we get better turns on our inventory, and the profitability is better. So the proportion of business right now, it is up 10%, which comes from digital, very digital enabled businesses that comes in, but the endeavor is always to get it better so that the profitabilities come in there, because the cost of holding inventory in our business is much more than anything else. So that's how it is.
Got it. I think that's a good discussion we had. I think in interest of time, I also just tried to trying to summarize the different points that we have been talking about, right? I think we spoke about the online versus offline the omni-channel versus only offline-led businesses, and we clearly saw the different points of views, and there are players who are focusing on omni-channel, but there are also players or the industries where they feel the offline-led model is still the way to go, because the consumer is still looking for a physical experience, and therefore is an important way going forward. We also discussed about the different use of technology across the value chain of the different industries. I think there are innovations that people are trying out. There are some innovation which have become more table stake in different parts of the business, whether it is respect to D2C, inventory, RFID, etc. While there are also new innovations which people are trying to use as a differentiation for their business. And a third, I think, was around profitability, which is the different channels are playing different roles, and in that context, we need to look about the profitability, and maybe the absolute profitability may not be the measure to take the final call. So thank you guys for such an engaging discussion. Really loved it. Have a good day. Thank you.